might feel that your life is a mess, but don't feel bad. Ours is too, but we own a microphone and we have no shame. That's why we'll talk about how our life is a mess nonetheless. That's the name of our podcast.
I think we've listened to this like 5 times in a row because we are laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh. Our brothers were just here. They flew in as a surprise to me for my 40th birthday with Melissa. I knew she was coming.
Mm-hmm.
My brother picked up my guitar and was like, I think you guys need a theme song. And then he kept singing about, you know, all the different ways, like
Mhm.
MS to like we're a disaster.
And
he sent us that.
he just sent us that. Yeah, they went home today. They were only here for 24 hours. And if you're watching on YouTube, we are sitting in Rachel's bed
Mhm.
and we have barely brushed our hair today.
Oh my God. This is what the rest of my room looks like. It's completely unmade.
If you cannot see, it's a disaster, all over the
Disaster.
floor because my stuff is unloaded on the floor.
A mess nonetheless.
A mess nonetheless. So we told you guys last week that we were not planning on doing we're going to take a 2-week break, but we were laughing so hard at this and we're like, we have to introduce this to you guys. We're going to do a poll and figure out how, if we should use this every day or every week, if it should just be something we pop in there now and then for a laugh.
Would you be sad if we didn't use our other music, or are you like, no, this is so funny, you gotta use it or something like it?
Mm-hmm. And then we thought we would just share with you guys really quick. So if you don't know, so I'm the oldest, and then we have a brother, Nathan, and then it's Rachel, who just turned 40 yesterday, and then our youngest brother, Jonathan. And we call him Jonathan. And Rachel and I, as you guys know, we've been super open about our relationship and our history and the fact that we've had to work really hard through some difficult things to get to where we are now. And we've had a few people, I haven't posted anything on my stories of the last 24 hours because I have something I'm going to be putting together, but she has been, and we've been hearing from people like, oh my gosh, you guys just have like the most amazing sibling relationships. And while that is true, we wanted to get on and say that also did not just happen without a lot of effort and intentionality on all 4 of our parts.
A lot of pain, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of hurts, a lot of wounds, and then like layers and layers of peeling that back and getting to the root of things and listening to one another and hearing each other out, hurting each other and then apologizing for hurting each other. Like, it's not even a joke. Like the fact that our brothers flew down here to surprise me for my 40th birthday and that it was like their idea is like a relational miracle. It really is. Like a year and a half to 5 years ago, it would never have happened.
No,
never.
and it has nothing to do with the fact that we loved or didn't love each other. We have
Jesus,
right?
Because we're all following Jesus.
And you guys, we grew up in a really great household. Like we had imperfect, of course, because no one grows up in a perfect household, but we had a lot of healthiness and a lot of things taught to us that were really healthy. And yet we have still, as adults, had to work because we're human. So we have hurt each other, and you hurt the people that you knew in your younger days. Those are the people sometimes we hurt the worst because that is when we were kind of raw and unfiltered and just
in our most immature state and least refined in our faith and
and so we just and not only was it just this great thing that our brothers wanted to join me and surprise. So she came to the hospital. Nope, I did not fly into the hospital. I was at the airport. She came to the airport to pick me up knowing that, and then they were there with me and was a surprise. And we have a great video of that. And I will post it on here so you guys can see it because it was really, really amazing. But all 4 of us have said, I mean, we were together for literally 24 hours and because we landed at 8 and they left at 10. So 26 hours. And we have said, I don't think we've all been like, that was like the best 24 hours of our life. Like we laughed more. I've never seen any of us laugh as hard as we have laughed. And it was over and over and over again.
We couldn't breathe. We were laughing so hard. We were like, I don't even know how to talk.
Right.
We all did. We were gut laughing, belly laughing. And our one brother said, I haven't laughed that long in so long. And our other brother said, they're very close. Our other brother said, I don't think I've ever seen you laugh that hard.
Yeah.
And it's just like so good for our souls. And
right.
Like, such a full circle because I mean, it was just within the last year and a half, these relationships for me with our brothers have kind of come full circle. And like, you haven't had the same relationship issues with our brothers, but like you've had to fight to believe a lot of untruths in your relationships with them.
And they've had their things that if they were
Right.
sitting here, they would share. I mean, we're obviously not going to any details of any sort, but it's been all the way around. And again, it has nothing to do with, it's just that happens.
Right.
And I think that I'm just, as we're doing this podcast, the more we do, the more we're really zeroing in on where our heart is in this. And one of the biggest things, and I'm going to cry, is fight for relationship. Do the hard work. It is so easy sometimes to think this isn't worth it and I just want to walk away. We'll just deal with where we're at, and that's just where we'll stay, status quo, right here for the rest of our life. And you know, Jesus did not die. Kids are coming in the room if you see Rachel like pointing at people.
Yeah, warn them.
Yeah,
they don't know how not to interrupt, so it's better to just wing it.
Yes. And but Jesus did not die for us to have freedom in relationships. He died so we could have freedom in relationships. I said that backwards.
Jesus did not die for us to have freedom.
Jesus didn't die for us not to have freedom in relationships. That's what I was trying to say. The yelling at the child with your fingers got me off the field. Anyways, we are going to advocate for that probably every single episode. And we just have been, I mean, we've been texting with our brothers ever since they left this morning. We went and had breakfast before we brought them to the airport, and we just kept saying how this was amazing. I mean, and our brothers are not gushers, and we just keep getting these heartfelt texts from them about how incredible it was, and how one of our brothers said, I wanted this to be a blessing for Rachel, and I think it ended up being the biggest blessing for me, and meaning him, not Melissa.
Bless you, Melissa. You took my blessing.
I know. Yesterday we were leaving dinner. Rachel goes, oh, nobody even saying happy birthday to me. And we said, do you feel unseen today?
1,700 miles. We did everything I wanted to do today, but no one's saying happy birthday to me. And I said, my brother, our younger brother goes, what, you want people to sing to you? I was like, yeah, how does anybody even know it's my birthday if a room full of people aren't singing it to me? And he goes, we are not the same person. Like, that's correct.
Yes. So anyways, do you have anything else you want to say? We literally just wung it.
I don't think any of
us. We winged it. We got on and just did it. That's what we did.
It has to be the right.
It has to be it.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Yeah, no, I just obviously echo everything you're saying. And I think for me, like, I know a lot of you have resonated with my personality and just the things that I've done in this, shared on this podcast, that we've heard that a lot. Like, oh, I'm like Rachel, like used to be, or whatever. And like I just want to run. I don't want to be hurt. And so I withdraw and I isolate and I just push people away. I shared about this in my book, Trust Redefined. Like, I just push people away because I don't want to be hurt. And I don't have any trauma to make me feel that way.
Right.
Like, kids who've lived through trauma, that's like a natural response. I don't know why I do that. And I have wanted to run away from literally every single one of these relationships, at multiple times. Push them away, just be done with them, wash my hands of it, and just be like, it's not worth the hurt. It's not that they weren't worth it. It's that it didn't feel worth the hurt. And
of working on it. And
working. It didn't feel worth the hurt to stay in the relationship
where it was at.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to walk away.
Right. Sorry. I'm saying,
like, what do you think I'm saying?
I just want to, like, our brothers listen to this a lot, and I want them to not hear us saying like, they just kept hurting you and hurting you and hurting you and hurting you. There was a lot of backstory just within the relationships that was hurtful.
Yeah. So like with you, I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to, it's not because you were hurting me over and over. It's
right.
It's too painful. I don't want to.
And that's what I'm clarifying.
When we hurt each other, it's just too painful.
Yeah.
And like, for me, I think it just really, when I'm hurt in relationships, regardless of if the person did anything to genuinely hurt me or not, it just has brought up, I think we all do this, it has brought up so many like internal wounds and messages that like I let the enemy tell me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I already believe them. So like, if I feel hurt by someone else, it's like, you've just confirmed it. And there's something about a friend or like a new person in your life hurting you that's different than someone who's been there since the beginning.
Yeah. And
so when I'm hurt by someone who like supposed to love me the most or whatever, you know, because that's family supposed to love you the most. And I feel the least loved, you know, when I have felt that in the past, like the least loved by people in my family, not because they didn't love me, but because there's just this it's like just a lie the enemy has used. And there's this deep wound in me that it just speaks right to.
The enemy's really good at creating an inner monologue
Yeah.
that we believe is
Giving
truth
us one
when
to
it's
grab onto.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that is like, I don't want to deal with this. This
Yeah.
is too painful. I would rather just walk away. And that has been like my default. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, when I get really hurt or upset, I just want to leave.
Mhm.
I just want to walk away. Like maybe you say it out loud, maybe you don't. Maybe you take action. Maybe you just give the silent treatment. Maybe you give space or distance. Maybe you get passive aggressive. I don't know what that looks like for you, but like none of that is healthy. And none of that serves the relationship, and it doesn't serve ourselves either,
Mhm.
because not that everything we should do should be to serve ourselves, but at the bare minimum, like we do care what happens to ourselves.
Right.
And it's like, keep fighting for, ask the questions like, Lord, what am I believing? What lie am I believing? Like, why do I not want to fight for these relationships? Why is it so easy for me to push away or walk away? What am I believing about myself? What lie am I believing about you?
Mhm.
Because for me, that's what it's all boiled down to. And I think there's probably a lot of people listening who have felt that way.
Well, and don't keep those thoughts only in your head. We talk about this a lot. Find someone who is trusted, who you can say, this is how I'm feeling, and will challenge you
Right.
to press in and do the hard work.
Right. And that's been you for me
Mhm.
these last few years, because I'll be like, well, I just think they're doing this. I just think they're thinking that. And you're like, that's not, just don't assume.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
don't assume. Like, you are building a narrative and believing it that's totally false.
Yeah.
And as a result, the relationship cannot and will not further.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it only builds hurts for more people when we assume and we believe narratives. And yeah, so we had the most fun.
It was amazing.
So incredible. It's incredible even hearing you say like our brothers listen to our podcast. Like,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Like that we even have brothers who love us enough who would want to listen to our podcast.
It's true. Every time they say, "Oh, I love when you said this," or "I heard when you guys said this,"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, you listen." I know so much to us.
It does. And our older brothers, like, you guys are incredible together.
Mhm.
And our younger brother freaking wrote a theme song.
When he had been traveling all day, he just got home and did it.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's so great. And I feel so thankful that all the times I wanted to walk away from some of these relationships, or all of them at different points, that I had the Holy Spirit, I had Jesus, because if I wasn't pressing into them, I would have, and I would have lost out on
Mhm.
these three incredible people. I was thinking about why we all laughed so hard yesterday. I'm like, do we bring out the best in each other?
Well,
Is
and
it possible that not just Melissa and I bring out the best, but that they
we
all
all
do stop? I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Here. And
it was one of our brothers at dinner last night said, "Well, when's our next trip?" And
Yeah.
we're like, we really need to start doing this on
yeah,
some sort of regular basis, even if it's
Yeah.
just a big 24 hours and we did a ton of stuff. And,
yeah.
but even if it's just 24 hours sitting and talking and playing
Right.
games, because it was, yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for jumping on with us on our spontaneous,
Yeah.
podcast episode, whatever we call it.
Yeah.
My legs are falling asleep sitting on this bed.
Also, it's just the way we're sitting with this
Mhm.
table thing. Also, we're in Arizona and it's cold and rainy out.
Mhm.
So we've been in the bed.
Yes. We did a bunch of stuff, errands this morning and afternoon, and then came home and
Shopping, brunch,
fell
and
asleep to a show. And we're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Here we are. So, all right. So
Right.
enjoy our theme song.
yes. Bye, guys.
You might feel that your life is a mess, but don't feel bad. Ours is too, but we own a microphone and we have no shame. That's why we'll talk about how our life is a mess nonetheless. That's the name of our podcast.